What's up, Eddie? How's it going?
All good, mate. All good. How are you?
I'm good, bro. You gonna roll up to Texas or what?
Of course, of
Yeah,
course.
you guys rolling up?
I'm in New York at the moment, just having meetings this week, and then tomorrow we'll make the trip to Fort Worth. Oh, listen, I'm looking. It's a great fight, and it's not like this isn't a kind of disrespectful move. Like we're not. Boots isn't the type to vault over the top rope and start. It's just that
That'd be
we.
pretty cool if he did that,
Yeah, I
bro.
mean, maybe he switches up and does it, but I don't. I think we want the fight and we want to be seen to like I haven't flown over here for a laugh to pretend. Like we 1,000,000% want the fights. For me, it's one of the best fights in boxing. So, Golden Boy worked with the Zone, we work with the Zone. We've got a decent relationship at the moment with Golden Boy. They're two of the best fighters in the world in their absolute primes. Let's make it happen. That's all we're saying. And yeah, and obviously if we get the fight for Boots, it would be good to watch Vergil in the flesh. And I think it's a positive thing that we're going and looking forward to a great fight.
There's no agreements in place. Nothing's been worked on. It's solely you're just waiting to see what happens in this fight to move forward.
Well, we had a meeting a while ago with Golden Boy and the Zone, and we all agreed that we want to make the fight. We all agreed on the terms for the fight.
So Oscar and Robert all say like that. Like when you said like there was an agreement in place, they say quote unquote BS. That didn't happen.
Okay, well, if you ask them, did you sit in an office and talk through the terms of the fight and agree these would be the correct terms for the fight? I mean, DAZN were there as well. I'm not making it up. I'm not making an imaginary meeting. It's definitely not a contract. It's not. It doesn't mean they have to stand by that. What they said was the terms of the fight, but that has been discussed. It was a very positive meeting, and we went away. And when we signed our extension with Boots, we also signed for him to fight Vergil Ortiz on the terms that we discussed. Again, we can change those terms. I mean, but ultimately, Boots is in. So all we need is Vergil Ortiz to be in, and we're going to make it happen. I get that it's like, well, why do we need Boots? It's like, well, come on, guys, let's not start all that. Like, why do we need Vergil Ortiz? He doesn't have a belt. We just think he's the best 154-pounder in the world. We want to prove we're the best 154-pounder in the world, which we believe we are. Let's do it. So again, this isn't a like you're ducking, you're running. We might get there, but at the moment it's not. It's just more like, look, guys, this is a brilliant fight for boxing. You can make your money. You can prove who's the best. Let's do it.
So if Vergil wins, you guys get in the ring. No announcements. It's just, hey, let's get it on.
No. There's work to do. There's work to do. Eric Gomez phoned me before the Lima fight and said, I just want to let you know we want to do the fight. We're focused on Lubin. It's and it's not an easy fight. But once that fight is done, we'll all move forward to try and make the fight. I don't think Team Ortiz and Oscar, I don't know. It depends on how much they actually really want the fight, whether they want to get us in the ring. Because when you do that, you're kind of putting pressure on yourself that you have to take the fight at that point. So if they actually want the fight, like if I was representing Ortiz and I wanted the fight and Boots was ringside, I'd be saying, quick, get in, like head to head. I did it recently with Navarrete and Nunes, right? Which is probably one of the best fights.
Yeah, that's a really good
phenomenal.
fight.
Yeah, but he's ringside and I'm looking at that fight going, this is one of the best fights in boxing. Hey, get in. And he's like, what, me? I'm like, yeah, I want to make you two early next year. Let's do a head to head. Let's get momentum going. Let's get excitement going. Let's create demand for the fight because the fighters are going to want to get paid. And that's the way you do it, by promoting that fight. What you don't want to do is you don't want to say, well, why would we fight Boots? He doesn't draw much, which is all bullshit. Like the reality is, if you really want the fight, you start talking it up. So we'll find out.
I think, yeah, they are starting to talk it up, but maybe this is just, your typical like fight talk. Oscar yesterday saying, once you guys see what Vergil does to Lubin, you guys aren't going to want to fight. Robert
it's too
Garcia,
late for that. Yeah. What did Robert say?
Robert said that he knows beyond a shadow of a doubt you guys aren't going to take the fight, that you guys already have an opponent for Boots, already have a date for him, and it's not Vergil.
We have no opponent. We have no date. We have nothing planned for Boots Ennis. We just want Vergil Ortiz. He's the number one choice. He's our sole focus. But listen, let's hope he comes through Lubin. I mean, this would be a disaster. I want me money back on my airfare if he gets beat. Do you know what I mean? But I don't think he will. I think he's a very good fighter. Robert is one of the best trainers in the world. But I probably like Robert. You know, I class him as a friend. Like, I'll tell him from me. I promise you. I promise we want this fight because I'm so sure Boots beats Vergil Ortiz. But it is a tremendous matchup. Tremendous matchup.
Yeah, speaking about wanting to get your money back, Tank and Jake Paul falling through, I'm out $1,500 because of that.
You better email those guys, see if they'll wire it to you.
Hey, yeah, right. That's not going to happen. You know that already. But what do you make of the news of the fight cancellation, and are you surprised that it happened?
I mean, look, Tank is so temperamental. Like, at this point, I don't think you could really run a promotion on the basis of him being in a fight. Like, and that's been the case probably for a while now. But Al Heyman has done a really good job, and his team of and like Calvin Ford and those kind of guys to get him in the fight. This is obviously different. Probably not training to the same kind of intensity. The stuff in his personal life's got nothing to do with me, and I don't know enough about it to comment, but clearly there's issues and clearly he's not going to fight. For Jake, it's a disaster. For MVP, for Netflix, it's a disaster because unfortunately they will start to learn, the broadcaster, what boxing is like, which unfortunately is, can really let you down at times, and you can be building up and it can cost you a lot of money, and it would have cost them a lot of money. They've had press conferences, they've had campaigns, they've had filming. I mean, several hundreds, if not millions of dollars already been spent on that fight. So it's a real pain in the arse. Sometimes when you make the wrong fight, it just, like, I don't know, like almost like God has a way of just like making sure there's issues, like when there's a great fight. And that's when I talk about, like, and I know it's not Jake Paul against Tank, but when it's like Boots Ortiz or Nunes Navarrete, and you've got two great fighters who are just tremendous professionals, and like that, you just feel like those fights are solid, and then here you've just got issue after issue after issue, and it's almost like you're trying to band-aid every little problem to get it to fight night, and then unfortunately something major happens where it means the fight just can't happen.
Just help me out a second, Eddie, just if you could get a little bit more center there so it's easier for us to go and edit so you don't your face doesn't get cut off. So the search is on for opponents. I know there's contract stipulations with AJ, he's exclusive to DAZN, but have they reached out? Did they reach out this week? Like, is that a possibility?
Yeah, I've spoken to Nikisa a few times on it. I mean, there's nothing to report to you that it's close, or there's a lot of hoops to jump through. Of course, AJ is exclusive to DAZN. We also work very closely with His Excellency, and although we have no contract with him, we're in talks for big fights next year. Of course, Tyson Fury being one of them. So we'd definitely give him the respect of making sure that he was aware of the plan and part of that plan as well. But at the moment, there's nothing major to report on that. Would we take the fight? Absolutely. I think Jake would be. I mean, my estimations of Jake Paul would go through the roof if he signs to fight Anthony Joshua, because I just can't believe in my mind that he would do something like that. I mean, Gervonta was a smart one because of his size. Like, I think actually he would have had a lot of success against Jake Paul, but the size is a problem. But this would just be, like if Jake Paul was to take the fight with AJ, you'd really have to maybe carry his balls in a wheelbarrow on the ring walk, because AJ wouldn't mess around in there, So it would be huge, but nothing to tell you it's close. Just a few conversations so far.
All right. Hey, speaking of AJ, so what's the latest on his return? I see you guys announced the fight in Ghana. He's always wanted to have a fight in Africa. He has Africa tattooed on his shoulder, I believe. I would think that's the perfect card to put him on, right?
Yeah, I mean, I think that, a fight in Africa originally was planned for February time. This fight this year, we just talk about it like that sort of 8 round run out fight where it's quite unusual. And we've never looked at doing it before because AJ's always the guy that fills the stadiums, and he still is. But with that comes a huge amount of pressure. Also, the need to fight quite a tough fight. And when you've been out for like a year and a half, coming off a knockout defeat, we just talked about the benefit to him of actually just getting back in a groove, wrapping your hands, just turning up on the night, just beating someone and then going into a bigger fight and then going into Tyson Fury. So, everything is still an option at the moment. And, there's a lot of people think he might fight on December 20th in Ghana. There's a few other cards he might fight on as well. Or he might just wait till February of next year.
So the decision's on him, or do you guys already know?
Yeah, I think that there are a lot of conversations at the moment. There's conversations with His Excellency about that plan in 2026. Of course, there's a couple of preliminary Jake Paul discussions. There's the idea of him hopping on a card that already exists. But it's a race against time now to kind of get those. If we're going to do a deal with His Excellency, that's imminent. Obviously, Ben Eubank next week. If we're going to fight Jake Paul, he'd want to probably announce an opponent next week or in the next week or so. If we're going to fight on one of the cards that exists already, we'd probably have to line up an opponent quite quickly. So we're running out of time if we're going to do something this year. And if we're going to do something this year, it'll be decided in the next week.
Has he been in camp already? Has he been training?
Yeah, he's just in camp now. So he'd be ready to fight on a couple of weeks' notice in an 8 round sort of easy-ish fight. But if he wants a championship fight over 12 rounds, it's likely we'll see that one in the beginning of 2026.
Yeah, I would imagine if he's in an 8 rounder, he's going to take a pay cut. Like he's cool.
The money's right? The money's not really the motivator here, Marcos. It's more just getting into the groove of like returning. Like if you come back after a year and a half and you're in a tough championship fight against a guy that fought 3 months ago and's on a good run, it's like, of course the money's always a motivator, but he's doing all right. This is more about the final run in his career where we can get the most out of his ability and just be 100% at the key moments at the big times.
I saw a thing online saying that he's thinking about switching camps. Is that accurate, or switching trainers?
I think any announcement like that will come from him, but he's always been a guy that goes into camps and learns, and I think it's well documented. He spent a bit of time in the Usyk camp just to look at the setup. Really, he's always trying to evolve and improve. And like I said, this is the last. I don't know whether it's going to be 2 fights or 5 fights or 6 fights, but it's the last run. So he's a guy that just wants to make sure he gets the best out of every situation, and that sometimes is just looking and learning.
Do you think an announcement will be made next week?
I don't know. I think probably maybe early the week after. Obviously, it's Ben Eubank next week, so there's a lot going on. And what are we, Friday now? So, there's nothing that's imminent to be signed, but there's a lot of conversations that are happening right now.
But I would imagine like there's a preferential date then for him, right?
Because of now we're coming up to the second week in November, probably early to mid-December would be preferable.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking too. Speaking of Ben and Eubank too, they're rematching next week in London. I saw Eubank release that ambulance video. Just your reaction to that? He posted something about I know during the press conference said you guys blocked the ambulance. He released that clip of the video. What's your reaction?
Yeah, look, I think Eubank's a great narrative spinner. If to people that aren't the sharpest tools in the box, like what he's trying to do is justify what he said. But if you actually listen to what he said, it's impossible to justify. He said that I and Matchroom stopped and blocked his ambulance from leaving, which is the most ridiculous comments you could ever make. So what he tries to do is kind of cloud the situation and the fact that the ambulance left that it was the early hours of the morning. They go to an exit, and unfortunately, someone at the control centre at Tottenham Hotspur, that's not my stadium. I know people think that I just run and own everything. I don't own the stadium. The control centre are the only people that can open the shutters. And they were screaming at them. I think it was a 10-second video or 15-second video. And there was a delay whilst the control centre opened it. But He didn't say that. He said Eddie Hearn stopped and blocked my ambulance from leaving. In the meantime, I'm with Conor Benn doing a press conference. Didn't even know this is all going on. But unfortunately, he's got it so wrong, but still refuses to just say, I don't mind. I don't mind this. I don't like Eddie Hearn. I think he's a prick. And, I want to be able to leave as quickly as possible in an ambulance, which he absolutely should. But I shouldn't have said that. Because that's not, whatever you think of me, you can't expect to say things like that. And for me just to go, yeah, all right. Because what you're saying is I put your life at risk. Now, he walked to the ambulance. He was actually asked that they'd take him to the ambulance. He chose to walk and all this kind of stuff. And it was precautions, but that doesn't matter. You should always, we want the best route possible. And that's a British Boxing Board of Control obligation and responsibility and an emergency service responsibility. But, of course, that's what we want. But what you can't do is accuse me and Matchroom of deliberately stopping or delaying an ambulance. It's a dangerous thing to say, and it's one that comes with incredible financial ramifications for me and my company. So we have to deal with that. Unfortunately, he's not sensible enough, or he's too stubborn. He has a big chip on his shoulder to say, I don't like you. And yes, the control centre did have to open the gates, but I shouldn't have said that. And I know you didn't block the ambulance, but I still think you're a prick. That's fine. That's fine, Marcos. Do you know what I'm saying? I'm not looking for the, but you just can't do it. You just can't, so unfortunately that rolls on. But he'll palm it off, he'll palm it off, then it'll get really serious, and then he'll probably do something, which he could have done 24 hours after the presser. But it's not his style.
What's different this time in the rematch, you feel, Eddie, and why is Conor, do you feel, going to fight a different fight, or at least a more tactically better fight than the first time?
I think a few things. I mean, firstly, he fought off emotion last time, which gave us just one of the best fights we've ever seen. But he actually was very poor, Conor Benn, in that fight, like by his own admissions. I mean, he's so much better than that. And it was a very close fight. So I think technically he can be so much better. It will still be violent and it will still be spiteful, but just control your emotions a little bit more. He hadn't boxed for like a year and a half going into that fight. He was obviously he had all the, the build-up stuff and everything. He just seems emotionally so much more mature going into this fight. And I think if he boxes to his full capabilities, he'll win, and he'll win in great style. Won't be easy. Eubank's a tough man, and he's obviously a lot bigger as well. But I truly believe Conor will win next Saturday.
Do we see a third fight then? Is there anything in the paperwork?
Listen, no, there isn't anything in the paperwork, and our goal is to move back down and win a world title. But if it's another fight like we saw last time and Conor Benn wins, yeah, I mean, I wouldn't rule out a third, but it's not in the plans at the moment. Yeah,
I would imagine if Conor wins, like, Chris is going to want to get his get back, and that's another
maybe. But another thing is Chris is getting old. He said before, he said, like, in this narrative spinning that he does, if I'm involved in another fight like that, please get me to the hospital quicker. It's like, whoa, like, you're expecting another fight like that. I thought last time you didn't take him seriously, and he said his dad wants him to retire, his family, I think, want him to retire as well. So that fight took a lot out of him at the age that he is. And if it didn't take a lot out of Conor Benn, because he's young and he hasn't been in a fight like that before, you don't know what Eubank you're going to get in this fight, but he's a proud man, he's a tough man, and I expect another tremendous battle.
Man, it's going to be a good atmosphere. The first
one will be amazing, yeah.
The first one was stacked with another fight here in the U.S. I forget off the top of my head which one it was, but I was kind of like, oh my God, I'm going to miss this fight, and I saw the atmosphere, so I'm a little gutted that I can't be there in person. Just two more things, Eddie. One, just because you promoted Devin Haney for a few fights. He has this fight with Norman. A lot of people are conflicted on it. I'm just curious, do you think that Haney's going to outbox Norman, or do you see it going the other way around?
Yeah, I think that if you ask me to pick a winner, I pick Devin Haney. I do think it's a dangerous fight for a few reasons. I mean, I do think, Norman's a decent fighter. He hasn't got any elite victories on his record, but he's not fought any elite opposition. What Devin are we going to get after the Ramirez fight? I mean, he was gun shy in that fight, but he boxed to orders. But I think him and I think Bill for sure are concerned about Devin getting hit. and getting hit hard. And if they get hit hard by Brian Norman, I think it was a really good thing that he had the Ramirez fight going into this fight, because I think if this was the fight that he chose after the Ryan Garcia fight, I think it would have been a tough night's work. But I think he'll just be technically too sharp, and I think he'll win a points decision.
Wow, yeah?
Yeah. But Norman's dangerous, and if he can let his hands go and get his feet in position, I think he's got a real chance.
Do you think we see a Ramirez type fight then?
Probably, but not as I think it would be very difficult for Devin to fight like that again and expect to get another job.
Yeah, but like at the end of the day, like you got to win by any means necessary, right?
No, but people don't. That was too much, the Ramirez fight. Like, you can box off the back foot, but that was a bit.
Yeah, no, that was a terrible fight. It was, let's be honest, it wasn't a great performance, but yeah, I don't know. It's. We can say that, but then coming from their side, they're thinking like, well, we don't want.
Yeah, but look at what Shakur did against Zepeda. I mean,
Shakur even said though after he wasn't happy with.
No, but at the end of the day, it was a great performance, and his stock rose. And I don't think he fought. I mean, I don't think he was overly careless. I mean, he sat on the ropes a lot, but he's so skillful he can do that. But there's a difference between being a counter puncher and boxing off the back foot and running and circling the ring all night. And that's what Devin did. And he had a lot of demons to overcome. I don't blame him for that. But now he's got to show that he's back. And it would be a tremendous victory. Listen, it's a fight to become a 3-division world champion. It's a major achievement.
Some quick bits. Eddie, will you be involved with this rumored Teofimo Shakur Stevenson fight? Are you re-signing Shakur?
It depends on what platform the fight lands on. I think, it's a fight that His Excellency's working on. If it's on DAZN, I think there's a good chance, yes, we'll be involved in that fight. Obviously, if it goes on another platform, we're exclusive to DAZN, so that wouldn't be the case.
And my last one for you, because I'm getting messages now to go ahead and wrap this up with you. Unless you want to override that, Eddie, but this fight-fixing scandal from the UFC, it's being investigated by the FBI, just your thoughts on it. And I'm just thinking, is this possible? Can this happen also in boxing?
Yeah, it has happened in boxing. It's going to happen in all sports, unfortunately. It's how you deal with it. I mean, I saw Oscar's clap back, which is always entertaining. And I honestly don't know enough about the situation or the scenario to comment. It's also not really my business to comment. I mean, it's another sport. It's Dana's business. It's the FBI, etc. What I will say is, the only thing that I heard Dana say was we were alerted to a potential, illegal betting pattern for an upcoming fight. And then we spoke to the individuals and said, do you know anything about this? And they said no. And then the fight went ahead. And clearly it was suspicious because of the result. The result mirrored all the bets that were made, I would imagine. We had a very similar scenario at a show about 9 months ago, where I was alerted by a betting company that we work with that there had been a number of bets for an undercard fight that were troubling and worrying and very unusual for a fight on the card to receive activity like that. When this happens, Marcos, it's not difficult to know something's going on. Do you know what I mean? Like on these early prelim fights, there just isn't liquidity in the market of betting. And then all of a sudden, there's loads of money gone on a fight for a specific round. That doesn't happen by chance. So what I did was I spoke to both teams. I spoke to the trainers. This is me personally. I was at the show. It was the day of the fight. And I pulled the fight. Because I wasn't going to have a fight on my card where there was potential of discussions that have taken place between fighters and other people without the British Boxing Board of Control having a full investigation. And probably what it sounds like, again, it's not my business, is when they get that phone call, they should be pulling the fight, in my opinion, because there's no coincidence. Do you know what I mean? Something has happened. Whether the fighters know about it, whether it's the trainers, whether it's the officials, I have no idea. But if there is irregular betting pattern on a prelim fight, you can bet your life something has gone down, and you cannot risk that. You have to pull the fight. But obviously they didn't pull the fight, and it still happened. And now probably it's a deeper problem. But again, it's their problem, not ours. And we just have to remain vigilant in our respective sports.
That's crazy, man. Like, do you like let go of the fighter? Like,
well, it depends. That's the job of an investigative authority. You know, the promoter has to make a call on a situation. But like I say, you know, you speak to the gambling authority, they might say, you know, normally there's £100 being placed on a specific round. Now there's £20,000. It's like, it's not, you know, that stinks. Therefore, no, it's not a main event. It's not like, you know, it's going to affect the card. It comes off and there's an investigation. And it sounds like that's what they should have done.